फीचर्स हैं, ये कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं जिनकी बेस पे हम इनको क्लासिफाई करेंगे। ठीक है, अब वो कौन कौन सी हैं? शेप ऑफ द बोन, शेप से क्या मतलब होता है? उसकी डेवलपमेंट किस किस तरीके से हो रही है उसकी बेस हम क्लासिफाई कर सकते हैं। तो कौन से रीजन्स में है, लिम्स में है, सेंट्रल मिड लाइन में है, उसके हिसाब से क्लासिफाई कर सकते हैं।
If the blood is exposed
Internal structure पे
to glass 7 is equal to 10, half of 10 is 5. So no role of factor.
और बाकी स्मॉल कैटेगरीज आ जाएंगी जो इन चार में फॉल नहीं करती। So depending on the shape, the bones can be classified into long bones. आपने अभी तक लॉन्ग बोन्स की क्या डेफिनेशन पढ़ी है कि कौन सी बोन क्या क्या पार्ट्स होंगे तो उसको हम लॉन्ग बोन कह देंगे?
Two ends and intervening shaft.
टू एंड्स होंगे और साथ में इंटरवीनिंग शाफ्ट होगा तो उसको हम लॉन्ग बोन कह देंगे। ठीक है, इसी तरह फिर मिनिएचर लॉन्ग बोन होगी या शॉर्ट लॉन्ग बोन्स होंगी जिनके पार्ट्स तो वही हैं लेकिन उनकी लेंथ कम है। फिर शॉर्ट बोन्स हैं व्हिच आर द स्मॉल साइज, जिस तरह कार्पल बोन्स आएंगी, टार्सल बोन्स आएंगी, आगे हम देखते हैं। फिर फ्लैट बोन्स, फॉर एग्जांपल अपर लिम्ब में आपने पढ़ी हुई है
Scapula.
स्कैपुला। ठीक है, और फिर आगे आ जाएंगे इरेगुलर बोन्स, उसका कहते हैं। क्योंकि आप इसमें देखते हो तो हमने कहा कि लॉन्ग बोन वो होती है जिसका अपर एंड है, लोअर एंड है और शाफ्ट है। ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे अगर हम देखते हो तो इसका अपर एंड शाफ्ट की लेंथ ज्यादा है और डिस्टल एंड आ जाएगा या लोअर एंड आ जाएगा। So these are the long bones. क्लैविकल लॉन्ग बोन थी, शॉर्ट बोन थी?
Long.
लॉन्ग बोन थी। ठीक है, तो इसके सेकंड कैटेगरी में कहा कि मिनिएचर लॉन्ग बोन्स हैं, शॉर्ट लॉन्ग बोन्स हैं जिनकी लेंथ शाफ्ट की इतनी ज्यादा तो नहीं है लेकिन बोन के पार्ट्स वही हैं, प्रॉक्सिमल एंड डिस्टल एंड और साथ में शाफ्ट हो जाएगा। सो द एग्जांपल्स फॉर दीस आर टार्सल एंड मेटाकार्पल एंड मेटाटार्सल्स। ठीक है, हैंड में मेटाकार्पल्स आ जाएंगी, फोट में से जाएंगे तो मेटाटार्सल आ जाएंगी। ये इसका प्रॉक्सिमल एंड आ गया, शाफ्ट आ गया और साथ में डिस्टल एंड आ गया। ठीक है जी, तो इनके आर्टिकुलर फेसेस कॉरस्पॉन्डिंग होंगे कि जहाँ पे कार्पल बोन्स के साथ कनेक्ट होना है तो कैविटी आएगी और जहाँ पे इन्होंने आगे फेरेंजिस के साथ कनेक्ट होना है तो यहाँ पे कॉन्वेक्सिटी आ जाएगी। अच्छा जी, फिर जो कार्पल बोन्स आपने पढ़ी थी वो सारी इंडिविजुअल इंडिपेंडेंट बोन्स हैं, छोटी बोन्स हैं जिनके हेड नेक ये इस तरह की चीजें नहीं है, शाफ्ट नहीं है, so they are the short bones. स्केफोल्ड की क्लिनिकल इंपॉर्टेंस क्या पढ़ी थी आपने?
Avascular necrosis.
एवास्कुलर नेक्रोसिस हो जाएगा। ठीक है, क्योंकि उसकी ब्लड सप्लाई एक हिस्से में होती है, दूसरे में डायरेक्ट ब्रांचेस नहीं है। सो अगर फ्रैक्चर होता है तो हीलिंग भी डिलेड होगी और एक हिस्सा जिसको ब्लड नहीं मिल रहा, दैट विल गेट नेक्रोसिस। सेकेंडली, दिस इज प्रेजेंट इन द फ्लोर ऑफ एनाटॉमिकल स्नफ बॉक्स।
Snuff box.
तो उसके in relation to that we can feel the pulsation of radial artery. Okay, तो इसके flat bones आ जाती हैं जो those are the flat bones which have outer and inner surface which are thin as compared to the long bones. So इनकी process हो सकती है but main most of the area is the flat bone, flat surface, so that is called the flat bone. Then there are irregular bones. Lower limb, when you start with the lower limb, you will study the hip bone, which is an irregular bone. You can think about the scapula as well as the hip bone, both are irregular. But we categorize scapula as the flat bone and we are categorizing hip bone as the irregular bone. Why it can be so? Because the scapula is present in a single plane, whereas the hip bone continues from the back, ending up in the anterior aspect of pubic symphysis. So that is present in various angles and various planes. Similarly, the mandible is also an irregular bone that is present both in the vertical plane, horizontal plane. So these are both the examples of the irregular bones. Revise till now, कहने का कि we categorize the bones according to the shape on 5 features and the 5 categories: long bone, others, short bone, yeah, long मिनिएचर लॉन्ग बोन्स कह देंगे या शॉर्ट लॉन्ग बोन्स कह देंगे, फिर उसके शॉर्ट बोन्स आ जाएंगी, फिर उसके बाद फ्लैट बोन्स की और फिर इरेगुलर. वन एग्जांपल ऑफ ईच लॉन्ग बोन.
Humerus, radius ulna.
Radius and ulna, very good. Miniature long bones या short long bones.
Metacarpal and metatarsals.
Metacarpal and metatarsals, ठीक है. Short bones.
Carpals.
Carpals हो जाएंगी for upper limb and tarsals will be for the ankle and the foot. Then flat bone example was scapula, and at the last irregular bones examples are mandible and the hip bone. Now we will categorize the bones according to their mode of development or ossification. Bone formation, the way it forms is the main method of categorization. Anyone has the idea by which methods the bones develop during intrauterine life? Before birth, bones कैसे कैसे बनती हैं? हमने ब्रीफ ओवरव्यू पहले इसका किया हुआ है. Ossification के मोड कौन कौन से होते हैं?
So intramembranous
and intra
cartilaginous.
So in intracartilaginous mode of development, the mesenchyme first forms the cartilaginous model of the bone, and later on that is calcified from a compact bone. Long bone mostly are developing by this process. And regarding the intramembranous, most of the irregular thin bones develop by the method of intramembranous mode of ossification, in which the mesoderm or mesenchyme first accumulates and forms a membranous model that is not very thick, and later on with the calcification, that membranous model develops into thin irregular bones. Now moving on to the examples of this. Membranocartilaginous or membranous development are the same one. Cartilaginous forms the long bones and the membranous development or membranocartilaginous forms the irregular bone. Now we look at the development features. We said that there are two modes, intramembranous and intracartilaginous. For ribs, there will be intracartilaginous mode.
Slide change नहीं हो रही. Slide change नहीं हो रही. अब हो गई है सर.
Slide change नहीं हो रही, समझ नहीं आ रही. अब चेंज हुई है स्टार्ट से।
Now which side you are viewing at?
सर mandibular body दिखा membranocartilaginous and cartilaginous.
Okay. So these are the two modes of development: cartilaginous mode of development and the membranous or membranocartilaginous. Cartilaginous mode of development leads to formation of long bones, and the membranocartilaginous or membranous ossification leads to the formation of irregular bones which are not very thick. Now here you see that is the image of the developing fetus. In the long bones, that is formed by the long bones developed by intra cartilaginous mode of development. So here you see the primordium of the humerus, radius and ulna, hind plate, with the later development, the size and the proportion increases. So these are the images for intra cartilaginous mode of development, and for intramembranous, that are the irregular bones and mostly they are of the skull. Here you see on the left hand side there is a membranous appearance. So this is the membranous model developed from the mesenchyme, and later on with the calcification it will develop into irregular bones. Okay, so this generally like is the membranous model. With the later calcification and bone ossification, these small irregular bones develop and later on fuse to form a single bone. About the figure, you have the two ideas. Okay, the skull bone has the sutures in between the frontal bone, parietal bone, and the occipital bone. So they show the landmarks at which the bones got fused to one another. Similarly, at the time of birth, there are gaps between these skull bones which lead or provide an area to increase the size of as discussed required by the developing brain. So these are called the fontanelle. So the two modes are intramembranous and intracartilaginous, which can also be called the membranocartilaginous. Clear so far?
सर इंट्रामेम्ब्रेनस के दो नाम है.
Intramembranous में frontal bone, maxilla, parietal bone of the skull. This is the frontal bone, forehead, the vault of the skull, that is the parietal bone, then maxilla, zygomatic bone. These all developed by the intramembranous mode of development or mode of ossification. Now we classify the bones according to their region. What it can mean, what does it mean? Depending on their location, the skeleton is divided into two parts: the central skeleton and of the limbs. The skeleton of the limbs is called the appendicular skeleton, and the bones that form the central midline axis is called the axial skeleton. Now here you see, this is the sternum, and that is the part of axial skeleton. The axial skeleton could be, we can classify the axial skeleton into two parts as well. One that is forming the wall of the thoracic cage, and the others which provide attachment to the soft tissues. The sternum acts as the somatic axial skeleton, and the hyoid bone or the mandible that can be the part of visceral axial skeleton, because the muscles and the other organs like tongue connected to the mandible. Suprahyoid muscle area will be studying in the next year, that are connected to the hyoid bone. So that is the visceral axial skeleton hyoid bone, and symmetric exoskeleton में ribs and sternum आ जाएगी. Now the blue colored bones are of the exoskeleton, second midline, and these grey or brown colored, these are the appendicular skeleton for the limbs. There are total 206 bones, out of which 80 are present in the central midline of the axial skeleton and 126 are present in the appendicular skeleton. Now, moving on to the next category or classification criteria, depending on their internal structure. If they are compactly packed or filled without any space in between, they are called the compact bone. And if they have the shelf-like projections with the spaces in between, they are called the spongy bone. If you see in this diagram, the outer portion up till here, they are densely packed in a symmetrical pattern, and this is the part of the bone is called the compact bone. And when we move towards the medullary cavity, central area, there are shelf-like projections forming, giving appearance like a foam or a sponge. So that is why they are called the spongy bone. It is not mandatory that all the spongy bone contains the marrow for the blood synthesis. This is the higher magnification that the inner medullary cavity has these cells. जी
सर हर बोन के पास एक कॉम्पैक्ट सरफेस होती है, स्पॉन्जी सरफेस होती है, तो फिर हम किस तरह इसको स्ट्रक्चर वाइज डिफरेंशिएट करेंगे?
अभी इसका हम आगे भी देख लेते हैं, लेकिन देखेंगे when we are talking about the bones of the skull, they are the flat bones, less in strength, and they are not meant to bear the weight. So they will be mainly the spongy bones. Similarly, the sternum is not the weight-bearing bone, and it has the marrow cavity in it, so that is also a spongy bone. So to classify these, that is the proportion of the spongy component and the compact component. If there is larger proportion of compact zone, that will be categorized as the compact bone, and the compact bones are meant to bear the weight or tensile strength, and the spongy bone is only involved if bone marrow is present for the blood synthesis. So there can be some spongy portion in the medullary cavity, but when we classify spongy bone or the compact bone, that is depending on the proportion of compact area and spongy area with the bone marrow, and secondly, weight-bearing bones and non-weight-bearing bones. In addition, there are miscellaneous types of bones, which we will be studying one by one. Sesamoid bones. किसी ने नाम सुना? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Along the tendon.
Which bones
That
are?
arise from the
Sir, they originate from the tendon
They
of muscle.
originate within the tendon of the muscle. Okay. Example.
pisiform bone.
Pisiform bone and the remain telephonic. Okay. Then are the pneumatic bones. Pneumatic is the word that is used for the air. Thoracic cavity में pleural cavity में air fill हो जाएगी, that is called pneumothorax. ठीक है? इसी तरह bones की central area में अगर हवा air in the central area of the bone, that will be the pneumatic bones. Mostly, predominantly, the use of these types of bones is in the birds that help to reduce their weight and make them easy to fly. But if we talk about the human beings, there are a few bones around the nose, frontal bone ethmoid bone, maxilla. These have the cavities or sinuses in it. Okay, and what would be the use of these sinuses in normal condition or in disease condition? Anyone?
सर साउंड की रेजोनेंस जो आपने बताया था
Sound की resonance को correct. We have come across a specific tone of individuals. That is because there is a specific pattern of voice resonance in these sinuses. But in cases of any infection or flu, when there is a fluid secretion accumulated, and these secretions would lead to decrease in the space available for the voice resonance. So either voice resonates less or none at all. That is the basic reason that we feel the sound of low tone during flu or throat infection, because the resonance of the air is deficient. Then are the accessory bones, that means the extra bones. For example, accessory bone की कोई example, accessory में कहते हैं extra, ये रिजर्व में पड़ी होती हैं, ठीक है? So,
6 fingers.
if there are more than 5 digits in hand or feet, the bones in them will be accessory. Similarly, when you will be studying thorax, there will be a cervical rib, normally which is absent, and at present it is connected to the 7th cervical vertebra. So that is also an example of accessory bone.
पॉलीडैक्टिली
जी
पॉलीडैक्टिली
पॉलीडैक्टिली, ठीक है. पॉलीडैक्टिली में जितने भी बोन्स एक्स्ट्रा होंगी, that would be accessory bones.
accessory bone
ठीक है. इसी तरह अगर cervical rib हो जाती है 7th cervical vertebra के साथ, so that is also not normally present. So that will be again accessory bone. Then the
accessory bone नॉर्मली तो नहीं पाई जाएंगी
जी.
सर accessory bones नॉर्मली तो नहीं पाई जाएंगी
नॉर्मली नहीं होती हैं. वर्नियर बोन क्या होगी?
सर ये स्कल में
होंगी, ठीक है. पर होती क्या है? What are the vernier bones?
ऑप्टिकल्स होते हैं.
Have a look at this diagram. There is a central zigzag suture between the two parietal bones. Then there is a lambda-shaped suture between the occipital bone and the two parietal bones. So this is called the lambdoid suture, and this suture which is present in the sagittal plane is called the sagittal suture. So here at this junction of these three, you see another separate bone which is having well-defined margins all around, present between these suture lines, and they are irregular. So these small extra bones which are present between the sutures, they are called the vernier bones. Okay. So here, which bones you can identify easily? This one is humerus. Here, this area,
scapula
lateral border of scapula, correct? Okay. And then if we see in the region of thoracic cavity, the bones would be appearing whitish and the air present in the lungs would be appearing black. और यहाँ पर अगर आप देखते हो, so ossification is completed or not yet?
completed है.
So यहाँ तक बात क्लियर है कि जी हमने कहा कि to classify the bones depending on their shape, they are categorized as long bones, for example,
Humorous radius ulna.
radius ulna. Then was the miniature long bone or short long bones, metacarpals and metatarsals.
Tarsals.
ठीक है. उसके बाद हमने कहा irregular bones,
Scapula.
scapula. Scapula irregular आएगी, flat आएगी.
Sorry sir, flat.
Scapula is in the flat bone. Irregular are the hip bone and the mandible.
Mandible.
And afterwards, we classified the bones depending on their mode of development, which was intramembranous or intracartilaginous. Then we talked about the axial and appendicular skeleton. The bones of the limbs are counted in the appendicular skeleton, and of central midline they are the axial skeleton. Internal structure, but depending they are the compact bone and the spongy bone. Hernian bones are the accessory bones which are small bones which are present within the sutures of the skull, and they have their own boundary all around. Accessory bones हमने बात करी कि cervical rib होगी और they can be extra digit bones. Pneumatic bones are the air-filled bones, and sesamoid bones are the ones which develop within the tendon of the muscle. Now, towards the end of today's last topic for today, that is the classification of bones. अब there are जी
सर क्लेविकल को अगर हम डेवलपमेंटल मोड में क्लासिफाई करें तो किस में आएगी क्लेविकल?
Clavicle is the only long bone which develops in the membrane.
Okay, sir.
Okay. There is an exception to the other rules. उसके बाद, when you talk about the blood supply of bones, so it has two components: the arterial supply and the venous drainage. Okay. इस बार याद रखना कि whenever you are getting a question of blood supply, you have to answer the both. If it is only the arterial supply is asked, then you will only be discussing the arteries. So we will be studying the blood supply for the long bones, flat bones, irregular bones, and the short long bones. Long bones, there are two subtypes: growing long bones and adult long bones. What is the difference between the two?
ग्रोइंग में एपिफिजियल प्लेट होगा.
ग्रोइंग में एपिफिजियल प्लेट होगा, मेटाफिजियल होगा, जो कि एडल्ट बोन में नहीं होगा. So when we will be describing vessels, in the growing bone there will be the 4 blood vessels, and in the adult there would be a different count. They are having the diaphyseal or the nutrient artery, and then small arteries at the epiphysis like the ends of the bone, and the periosteal arteries that are present in the periosteum of the bone or the outer covering connective tissue there. Or the metaphyseal artery, they will degenerate. Now, looking at this diagram, First of all, identify that it is the diagram of growing long bone or adult long bone. Can you see this diagram?
Sir, growing.
growing long
Growing long bone.
Adult
Full
long
on.
bone.
It's adult long bone. Anyone else? Look at these blood vessels that they are to the ends, which are the epiphyseal. Then the growing area is also supplied by separate blood vessels, which are the metaphyseal. Then the nutrient artery, and there are some blood vessels which are present in the periosteum. So these are the four blood vessels which are supplying these, and these are four: diaphyseal nutrient artery, periosteal arteries, metaphyseal artery, and epiphyseal or capsular arteries. So these are seen in the growing long bones. ये देखिए कि हर artery के साथ every artery has its vein. So epiphyseal artery and epiphyseal vein. Then is the metaphyseal artery and metaphyseal vein, periosteal arteries and periosteal veins, and the diaphyseal or the nutrient artery and the nutrient vein. If we compare it with the adult long bone blood supply, so there these metaphyseal arteries will either merge with the epiphyseal artery or the periosteal arteries and will disappear as a separate structure. The area where there was cartilage, epiphyseal cartilage, then degenerates and gives or leaves behind a mark or impression that is called the epiphyseal line. Okay, so if you draw the diagram of the let's say adult long bone, so that will be having the epiphyseal on both sides, and the nutrient or diaphyseal blood vessels which enter, ascend, and descend. And in addition, the periosteum will have the small blood vessels leading to the veins. Then, blood supply of flat bones. Example was scapula. Now you have to remember one thing, in the case of irregular bones and the flat bones, because they are not very thick, so that would be supplied with the blood vessels present around in the surrounding or the periosteum. Scapula has the perforating branches, okay, along with the circumflex scapular artery. Irregular bones may have mandible. It has mandible. Examples are mandible and
Hip column.
so that will be supplied by the small blood vessels passing around the or surrounding of these bones. And for the blood supply short bones, they are limited. For example, the blood supply of the scaphoid. One part is supplied by the direct small branches, other part is devoid of and gets its nutrition by diffusion. So if there is a fracture and the two parts separate, one having the blood vessels will survive and the other will necrose due to the loss of blood supply. Any questions so far? Okay, so quickly we go through the two diagrams. आपने समझ बताना है कि वो क्या रहा है. These are for the development of bones, either intramembranous or intracartilaginous. So, is this side visible to you, intramembranous?
No, sir.
No, sir. Yes.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
अगर यहाँ पे देखते हैं, this is the frontal view of the skull. This blue one is the frontal bone. The greens are the parietal bone, temporal bone, maxilla, and mandible. These are the irregular bones which develop by the intramembranous mode of development. So step by step we see what would be the steps. First, the mesenchyme or the mesoderm condenses to form a membranous model. These are the mesenchymal cells which clump together. With the further development, these margin cells develop into the bone developing cells or bone forming cells which are called the osteoblasts. And those which mature from there move to the center called the osteocytes. So we have and some amount of the osteoid material is secreted between the cells that would be calcifying later on. When this structure is produced, the blood supply to the deeper layer is compromised, leading to cell death and degeneration in that area. After cell degeneration, जी
सर कैल्सिफिकेशन कौन करेगा बोन की?
कैल्सिफिकेशन बाद में डिपोजिशन ऑफ मिनरल से होगी. अब उसमें
ब्लड सप्लाई से होगी.
circulating जो blood है that has the calcium as well as the phosphorus. So under the effect of the parathyroid hormone and the growth hormone, these minerals get deposited and calcification process continues.
ओके सर.
इसके बाद फिर क्या होगा कि जी in those areas of osteoid material that fail to reach the deeper layer and that degenerate forming or leaving behind white gaps. So mesenchyme along with the blood vessel would invade these areas, leading to the shelf-like trabecular formation, and later on there will be calcified, and these gaps are filled. Talking about the endochondral or intercartilaginous mode of development, तो इसमें क्या होगा कि जो mesenchymal cells से they first form a cartilaginous model, hyaline cartilage, covered by a connective tissue layer called the perichondrium. इसमें भी ये होगा कि जो central area है वहाँ पे calcium deposition start हो जाएगी in the shaft region. जब ये deposition start हुई तो blood supply to the inner aspect of the component would be compromised. जब blood supply compromised होगी so that area of the cartilage cells would necrose, leaving behind lacuna or spaces. When these spaces appear, the mesenchymal cells from the periphery, along with the growing blood vessels, invade these. The blood vessels form the nutrient artery, and these invading cells form the osteon, and the calcification begins. अगर हम मार्जिन की तरफ देखो कि these are the epiphyseal cartilages, and between the shaft and the epiphyseal cartilage there is a epiphysis or shaft membrane cartilage that is a hyaline cartilage articular variety that would lead to the increase in the length of these bones. And once the mature length is achieved, these cartilage cells disintegrate and degenerate, leaving behind the compact bone. So in the adult form, nutrient artery enters it, gives the ascending and descending branches that would supply the shaft, and at the end these merge with the epiphyseal branches of the blood vessel to provide or maintain the blood supply or nutrition to the bone. Question, any query?
सर
जी
सर
जी बेटा।
सर जब थोरेसिक केज की बात करते हैं तो उसमें हम सिर्फ थोरेसिक तो उसमें हम स्टर्नम और रिब्स लेते हैं। थोरेसिक वर्टिब्रा को क्यों नहीं उसमें इंक्लूड करते? केज तो पूरा बंद होगा ना, इस तरह तो केज किस तरह बंद होगा? रिब्स और स्टर्नम को सिर्फ इंक्लूड करते हैं, थोरेसिक वर्टिब्रा को क्यों नहीं इंक्लूड करते जो 12 है? तो फिर ये केज बनेगा, इसमें केज बनता ही नहीं है अगर सिर्फ आगे से पीछे से खुला है।
जी बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हो। The thoracic cage proper has these three components: vertebra, ribs, and the sternum. लेकिन vertebrate development एक्सोस्केलेटन की डेवलपमेंट के साथ अलग करते हैं, so that is not mentioned everywhere. चलिए वजह otherwise these vertebrae are the part of the thoracic cage and they provide the attachment points for ribs and also provide protection to the internal organs. Question?
सर ये न्यूमेटिक बोन्स आपने कहा एयर फिल्ड बोन्स, ये साइनोसिस सर ये कैसे बनेंगे?
Cyanosis की sinusitis
सर ये जो साइनोसिस बनती है कैविटीज, फ्लूइड फिल्ड कैविटीज,
जी फ्लूइड फिल्ड कैविटीज साइनसाइटिस में कोई भी इन्फेक्शन वगैरह जब होती है, जैसे जुकाम है, फ्लू हो गया, so these sinuses are infected leading to the accumulation of nasal secretions in them. तो वो जो thick viscous secretions जमा हो जाएंगी, so that will lead to the decrease in the volume available for the voice to resonate. तो उस वजह से आवाज कम रेजोनेट करेगी, आवाज भारी हो जाएगी.
ओके सर.
And this condition is called sinusitis. अगर ये क्लियर नहीं हो रहा तो आप मुझे व्हाट्सएप पे मैसेज कर देना, आई विल बी देयर टू आंसर क्लैरिफाई कन्फ्यूजन. मैं आपको अटेंडेंस लिंक भेज रहा हूँ, मार्क अटेंडेंस. इसके अलावा और कोई क्वेरी क्वेश्चन है जरूर पूछना.
सर आपसे क्या पता निकाल के 4 बजे की सबसे या फिर बैच क्लियर बैच लीजिए हो.
जरा दोबारा पूछिए, आवाज नहीं है.
बस सबसे क्या बता बच्चे की इकट्ठे होगी जैसे पहले हुआ था.
सी एंड डी बैच की कल है और ए और बी की परसों है. कल जो है वो 11 बजे स्टार्ट हो जाएगी.
सर फ्राइडे सैटरडे नहीं था 7 और 8.
ये बच्चे आगे ईद की छुट्टियां हैं, सो वी हैव टू रीएडजस्ट. हम लोग अटेंडेंस मांग के तो और कोई क्वेरी है पूछने हैं.